If Damian Lewis's exit from Billions took you by surprise, you might want to sit down for this video, because we are going behind the scenes at Billions to bring you all the hidden details behind this show. From the cast's love lives to audition stories and some fun filming secrets. We got it all, so let's dive right in. Billions had very humble beginnings. Can you believe that no one ever actually pitched the idea of Billions? It's true. Instead, creators Brian Koppelman and David Levine admitted that the show began like a business startup. They had an idea, found people who believed in that idea, and brought it to life. It wasn't as simple as it sounds. Billions was written on spec. For those not in the know of Hollywood jargon, this means they wrote the first episode to entice buyers. Brian elaborated, "Our goal was to be able to say, we have the script and we have the outline for the first season. So if you want it, you have to agree to certain things. It was a huge risk. What if no one wanted the show? That would mean the 4 months they spent writing the pilot without being paid would be wasted." Showtime's David Nevins fell for the bait, and he fell hard. He told Brian and David, "I want to buy the show, and I want to make the show." And this unorthodox approach set the scene, sorry couldn't help myself, for the entire behind-the-scenes culture of the hit show. As Brian explained, the cast gets their scripts 2 weeks before filming so that the actors have time to ask for any clarifications or make any suggestions they think will improve the shot. After a round of edits, the final script is a team effort and the one we see on screen. Even more surprising than the cast participation in scripts is that many of the storylines aren't actually planned in advance. Brian clarified, "That means at the beginning of a new season, we don't know exactly what we'll do. Having these actors take our ideas and our words and elevate them, it's just remarkable. But how did these guys know which actors were the right fit for the show and for the pressure of elevating it to television gold? We're glad you asked." How it all started. Damian Lewis might just have left Billions, but that doesn't mean we can't look back at how he started. He was drawn to the role because it was like the most epic game of the Wild West he'd ever seen. As Damian once told Entertainment Weekly, "We have this mythic context of a sheriff and a cowboy, a sheriff and a gunslinger. And, you know, it's a story about shysters being shysters, and there are no two bigger shysters than Chucky Rhodes and Bobby Axelrod. Only instead of slinging bullets, he's throwing a lot of cash around." For Paul Giamatti, playing Chuck Rhodes was attractive because the character was so unpredictable and because of how he spoke. The actor revealed, "I never really know where he's gonna go. The language is fun. He has a kind of high-flown oratorical way of speaking." Whereas his on-screen wife was drawn to Wendy because of how complex the role was. Maggie Siff considers Wendy Rhodes as something of a superhero. She explained, "She has superpowers, right? She's as ballsy as any of the men, and she's clearly smart. I mean, they're all crazy smart, but she's a real shapeshifter." But Maggie didn't actually think she'd get the role. By the time the actress auditioned, the casting directors had already seen over 100 actresses, but no one blew them away until Maggie. Her secret was that this lady had a very clear idea of her character. Maggie did not want Wendy to be a moral compass, calling that idea boring as hell. She explained that Wendy was far too cool to just be given one role, especially if that role focused on morality. That honesty is exactly what won her the part. The newest member of the cast didn't have to convince anyone he was right for the role. In fact, Corey Stoll initially turned down appearing on Billions. He explained, "There were a couple opportunities to work on Billions through the years and they didn't work out based on scheduling, and frankly, I was holding out for something a little more exciting." Now that he's playing Mike Prince, he's really glad he held out for so long, because it's one of his favorite roles to date. He's not alone. John Malkovich's character, Gregor, was only supposed to be a cameo in the 3rd season. However, the actor enjoyed the small part so much and was so good that he was bumped up to a guest cast member and has been thrilling fans since then. He explained that, "On Billions, the only thing better than the script is the chance to work with some talented actors and form amazing relationships." So now, let's take a closer look at some of those relationships. It's not about the money, it's about the people. Billions is about more than just lots of money. It's also about how lots of money can change your relationships. Let's be honest, half the reason we tune in every week is to watch the battle of wills between Axe and Chuck, and the poor victims they leave along the way. And of course, there's the added drama of the most unexpected relationship of them all, Chuck and Wendy, and that ever-present third wheel, a ball gag. Believe it or not, the whole BDSM aspect of the show is based on real life. While the creative team was doing research about the lives of rich and powerful men, they chatted to a few ladies of the night who revealed that many of these high-powered men are just like Chuck. They have a secret life in the bedroom. But it didn't bother Paul Giamatti. In fact, the first time he had to film that kind of scene with Maggie Siff, he fell asleep while hogtied and gagged.
Action to it was really surprising. I fell asleep. I had a warm, washing feeling go over me, and I just dropped off.
So what about off-screen? Paul Giamatti's real-life romance looks nothing like the twisted bedroom scenes he's become used to filming. Off-camera, he tied the knot with writer and producer Elizabeth Cohen in 1997, and they welcomed a son in 2001. Then something weird happened. Sometime in that decade, they called it quits. Strangely, we don't know the exact date of their divorce or the reason. And that's not all this actor has kept under wraps. Since the mysterious end of his marriage, Paul has kept his love life under lock and key, but he forgot about this pic from 2 years ago. So, who knows, maybe he has found love again? Thankfully, his on-screen wife has less secrecy around her relationship. Maggie Siff is happily married to a real-life psychologist called Paul Ratliff, and we have no doubt that he's a bit of a muse for Wendy's character. The couple said their I-do's in 2012 after a lengthy and unusual courtship over email. In fact, when Maggie said yes to that question, Paul actually gave her the sweetest gift to celebrate, a bound book of all the emails they'd exchanged over the years. How sweet is that? 2 years later, they had a daughter called Lucy, and since then have done their best to keep their family life under wraps. Tragically, Damian Lewis's love life is part of the reason he's leaving Billions. Earlier this year, his wife, Helen McRory, passed away. Since then, the actor has become a single dad, and he's determined to be around for his kids. That means less acting and definitely no acting overseas in America. Sorry fans, but that's just the hard truth of it. But in Axel's place, we're getting television royalty in the form of Corey Stoll's Mark Prince. Not only is Corey no stranger to acting in different media, from stage to television and film, but he's used to having his real-life partner as his colleague too. Corey's wife Nadia has appeared in an episode of The Strain alongside her boo, as well as in a production of Macbeth, which is exactly why fans were so surprised when these two tied the knot, because the whole thing was a huge secret. US Weekly revealed that they were engaged in 2014. They tied the knot the next year, and fans only heard about the wedding after it already happened. Later that year, they blindsided us a second time by admitting they were expecting a baby. Now we'll just have to hope they don't keep any more secrets from us. And speaking of secrets, get ready for some revelations you may not have known. Things look pretty different off camera. I'm about to blow your mind. Billions may focus on gunslinging shysters, as Damian Lewis said, but when the cameras aren't rolling, that rivalry becomes brotherhood. That's right. Off-screen, the Billions cast is not at each other's throats. They're a big family, and it's headed by Paul and Damian. The British actor once revealed that he was surprised he and Paul managed to get any serious filming done because they got on so well in real life that it can be tough pretending otherwise. The rest of the cast agrees. Chris Carfizzi, who plays Rudy, explained, "We often talk about each other as the Billions family. In my experience, it's been that way since day one. It's a family." But good working relations aren't the only ingredient for a successful show. It takes a lot of work to get it all looking great. Fans just don't always realize it. Costume designer Eric Damon is one such unsung hero. It's his job to make sure everyone looks as good as possible. He's responsible for Axe's casual jeans and Metallica t-shirt look, as well as Chuck's high-end suits. In fact, he even hid a little secret in Chuck's wardrobe.
I've also done a lot of suspenders on him. I also feel like it's a nice nod to what he likes in his private life, which is a little bit of S&M.
And the same clues are hidden in his wife's wardrobe. As Eric likes to think of it, Wendy has a headmistress aura with blacks and dark blues with loads of prominent zippers. He added, there are some innuendos of her dominatrix S&M life. Also, Hawaii necklaces have a harness look and an S&M feel. The same goes for the sets. Designer Michael Shaw explained that the toughest part of his job was how to accurately convey the lives of the ultra-rich. Often that meant hiring expensive toys like jets and helicopters, and even recreating expensive props, like a $50 million painting that gets totally trashed. All in a day's work, I guess. For even more info on Billions and its cast, check out our other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay awesome.